Happy birthday, Nicolas Cage, and I have just two words to say to you. Face off. Welcome back to The Final Wager. I'm William Weyser, and since you all know that I'm doing Mr. Man Week two-parter in the exact same week, well, so far this week, that I'm doing The Final Wager for Jeopardy, the greatest of all time, I told you earlier today and yesterday that I'm doing Mr. Man Week two-parter in the daytime and The Final Wager for the greatest of all time in the nighttime. And that is why Zing Zing Zingba is here. During Mr. Man Week two-parter, he pulled out Falling Oranges, and I uploaded everything about that episode, and it was alright by me. Of course, A Pile of Balls and Colored Bricks are two better just Mr. Man Booba episodes in my opinion, but a pick is a pick. Anyway, let's get to this, and by the way, each and every one of these episodes is an hour-long episode instead of the usual half-hour episodes, which it has always been. And that's why there's going to be two games instead of one per each and every episode in this tournament. So, with a surprising True Daily Double that paid off, Ken has a huge lead with 33,200. James has exactly half of Ken's total with 16,600. And Brad just had a rough game. Well, the first half of it with 5,200. And this first half of this episode's game, and I'm going to be saying this in each and every episode of The Final Wager for the greatest of all time, as many episodes as we can. These episodes are basically a daily double that everybody gets to play. Well, the first half of these games. So, there's some choices that could be made here. If I'm Ken, at least I'd probably wager 0 just to be safe, in the hopes that James goes all in and gets it right, and I wager 0, because if I wager 1 point, because we're playing for points, not dollars, and miss, I'm going to lose heading into the second half of tonight's episode by a point. So, James should go all in to catch Ken, because he doesn't have a choice. And speaking of no choices, Brad doesn't have a choice either. He's way behind, and Ken was just dominant. So, let's see what happens here. Brad got it right, and wagered everything, doubling his score to 10,400 points. James also got it right, and also went for everything, doubling his score to 33,200 points, which puts him into a tie with Ken, who made it a clean sweep, and wagered 11,800, which I did not expect, but that puts him into the lead with 45,000 points. Now, I'm going to write down these Game 1 scores. And here, as you can see, Ken is in the lead with 45,000 points. James has 33,200 points. And Brad has 10,400 points. And now we move on to Game 2 of tonight's episode. And heading into final this time, James has the lead with 15,000. Ken had a bit of a more up and down game, as did Brad. But Ken has 12,200 and Brad 10,000. Now what I've done here is I've written the scores that each and everybody has if they double up. So if James doubles up, he will have 30,000 added to 33,200 from earlier. That would be 63,200. And if Ken doubles up, he will have 24,400 added to 45,000 from earlier. That would be 69,400 points. So Ken is in the lead. James is in second place. And Brad, if he doubles up, will have 20,000 added to 10,400. That would be almost 30,400 points, which normally would be a good two-day score for possibly to win. but in this case, not enough to catch either James or Ken's day one score, or in this case, game one score, actually. So I think we might see a little history being made tonight. Actually, we will. In a surprising manner. Now, if James doubles up, he will, as I said before, he will have 63,200 for a two-day total. So to get to 63,201, Ken will want to get to at least 18,201. So that would require a wager of 6,001. If he misses with that, he will have 6,199 for a two-game total of 51,199. So to get to that, to 51.2, James would have to get a right wager at least 3,000. And at that point, might as well wager everything if he's gonna want to go bigger. And Brad can wager whatever he wants, basically. Okay, so these are our wagers. And it's either going to be James or Ken that will win the first game. Now, the goal is to be the first one to win 3 games wins $1 million. The other two get $250,000 each. So, Brad missed and lost everything. But earlier, he had 10,400 points, and that is his 2-game total. Ken got it right and wagered 6,200 points, which brings him up to 18,400 points. Earlier, he had 45,000 points, and that gives him a 2-game total of 63,400. And at this point, it doesn't matter, because if James doubles up, he will fall a little bit short of Ken's total, and that's kind of what I said about James wagering enough to stay above the lady that defeated him in Emma Betcher, because if she doubled up, which she didn't, she wouldn't have had enough to cover James's total. And James got it right and wagered everything as he could, and that doubled his score to 30,000. Earlier, he had 33,200, and that gives him 63,200 points, 200 points short of Ken Jennings, and Ken Jennings has won match number 1. Congratulations, Ken. 1 game down, 2 more to go, possibly. And James and Brad need to catch up and win more games. Yeah, and win a game or two to catch Ken. Now, this is the exact opposite of the finale of the Battle of the Decades. In that finale, Ken was the only one who missed at a point where when he didn't need to, and Brad and someone else named Roger Craig were the two that got final right. In this game, Brad was the only one who missed, and Ken and somebody else named James Holzhauer got final right. So Ken got a little bit of redemption there. And the history being made tonight is that this is the first time in which, with the 2-game scores combined, Brad Rutter has lost to a human being. In terms of matches, not tournaments, because we're only on the first day and this is not over yet. So Mitch Holdak and I are happy about this right now. So, with that out of the way, we're now ready for Game 2 of the Final Wager for the Greatest of All Time. But before I do that, I have to do Day 3 of Mr. Man Week 2-parter. And I'll see you tomorrow when I do that and Episode 2 of the Final Wager for the Greatest of All Time. Until then, may the best man win.